Hey folks, good morning. I tell you what, it is gorgeous here on the Emerald Coast. I'm out on the front porch up here in Hammock Bay, just listening to the birds sing today, watching them fly over. And I tell you, it's a remarkable time, I think, in America, a remarkable time in the country. And we just need to remember that is what we need to do. Hey, we have, before we get into this, we are sponsored today by the Red Flag Company. If you are looking for any type of reputation management, social media management, a deep dive into the risk mitigation of your brand, especially in light of what we're going to be talking about, then you need to go over and check out the Red Flag Company. Mike McGolick, the whole team, phenomenal. I am proud to say I sat on the board of directors over there, have been with Mike for many, many years, and totally support the endeavors that he has going on. Also, I want to do a shout out to Maple Street Biscuit Company. You guys know they have been my largest sponsor since we restarted the podcast and all of the media content we're putting out. Great folks. They have been really helping a lot during this shutdown. This is a big weekend. A lot of states are opening up this weekend. Our beaches are opening up here in Florida, so we're excited about that. I want everybody to just enjoy the weekend, but I want to look at something here. What does doTERRA, Prove It, Total Life Changes, Trinot, Modere, Arbonne, ID Life, It Works, Rodan and Fields, Zervita all have in common? Well, they got a lot of stuff in common. Number one, they're all direct sales companies, but they're all run by some pretty smart individuals. They all have some extensive compliance and legal teams. Some of these companies have been clients. Some of them are run by great friends of mine. And yesterday, like every Friday, the FTC put out a press release and listed these 10 companies as all receiving warning letters for healthcare claims, income claims that all surrounded COVID-19, surrounded the coronavirus. And it was a shock to some people, not a shock to others. On March 14th, I did a post because I was pretty upset at the time because we'd seen some stuff come out on CNBC where people were jumping into some pretty liberal marketing in social media. And I literally tagged a lot of the leaders at the time and said, hey, we need to band together. We need to hold people accountable. Some leaders just made flippant remarks. When I say leaders, they're influencers. They're not necessarily in the field. These are influencers that all could have helped these companies. Some made flippant comments. Some said, oh, the companies are working on this. Others asked to be untagged from it. And it was a little bit disheartening. Understandable, I suppose, but disheartening. Because as influencers in an industry, influencers that are out there as social media experts, influencers that are out there as brand influencers. You see a lot of this at Amazon. Folks that are out there as legal eagles, folks that are out there holding themselves out. Tom Chenault brought this phrase together years ago for Mel Atwood. If they're gatekeepers, then we that are the gatekeepers have to be held responsible. And I think what happens here is we've got to determine what is a gatekeeper. If you're in a direct sales company, party plan, MLM, affiliate marketing, I don't care what you call it. If you're in a company like that, then you're a gatekeeper. It's up to you to say, whoa, we need to slow this down. Whoa, we need to do some stuff. So when I look at these great companies, I'm going to name their names again because I think this is very important, because these are not just fly-by-night companies. These aren't companies that just launched yesterday. doTERRA, Prove It, Total Life Changes, Trinot, Modere, Arbonne, ID Life, It Works, Rodan and Fields, and Zervita. Total accumulated sales. You can go look this up on the DSN Top 100 list. I'm pretty sure we're looking at close to $1 billion in sales, maybe towards $2 billion in sales, maybe $3 billion in sales when you look at all these companies combined. And every one of them are run by solid folks. So what happened? What did all these companies have in common outside of the FTC? I read through each of the letters. I looked at the claims. We're going to put some links up here afterwards that are going to take you to the guidelines and the rules that govern your business. Because something that I have to really make strong here. Out of all of these, only one company, just one, was held liable for their own actions. It works, put out some marketing stuff, crossed the line a little bit according to the regulators. I think I know why. Crossed the line, and they got smacked personally. The other 9 companies were not hit because of what they were doing. It was what reps in the field do. Now, I want you to jot down some notes because I think this will be helpful for you in the future. If you're brand new in a company and you're excited about the product, you've had an experience with the product, the last thing that you want to do is just go shout it to the world. A lot of people will tell you, well, Troy, it's my opinion. I'm covered by the First Amendment. I can do whatever I want. No, you can't. If you're just a customer on a product and you're not in the database as any type of an affiliate, if you're not making some kind of free product on this thing, if there's no compensation, period, none, zero, then I believe you can share your opinion under the First Amendment. It's what you want to do. And as long as you don't cross some FDA rules on giving medical claims and stuff like that, you're probably going to be pretty good. Hey, this is my opinion. This has done great for me, yada, yada, yada. If you get into any type of medical claim, even in that one, your butt's grass. It's as simple as that. But what happens here, and this is where the First Amendment does not apply, as soon as you have signed, you've clicked, you've done whatever, and you're in the database as a brand ambassador, as an affiliate, as an evangelist, as a disciple, whatever it is your company calls you, and you have the potential to earn money, anything that comes out of your mouth is an enticement to gather more customers or gather more downlines. And you are not covered by the First Amendment. You're now under commercial rules and regulations. You're under the FTC, the FDA, SEC, and a million other agencies that have initials. And this is where a lot of folks just don't understand it. A lot of times I think all of us watch TV and we see all these drug companies out there, and man, they are just jamming it, and the commercials look so good, and the indirect claim is we're going to live in heaven forever. Being a little facetious here, let me make a disclaimer. A little facetious. But yet, do you notice that every one of them at the end literally has on there the disclaimer, hey, by the way, this could kill you, rip your insides out, cause cancer in some other areas. If you have any of these diseases, please contact your doctor. Notice that these companies are not afraid of putting the disclaimers up. Every one of the letters that I read, every one of the claims that are made, whether it's about healthcare claims, whether it's income claims, none of them had any disclosure that said, hey, by the way, man, the FDA hasn't looked at this, the FTC hasn't looked at this, nobody's looked at this, this is just my opinion. I mean, nobody had that. Your products, none of your products, everyone watching this, none of your products can cure, prevent, mitigate, do anything else with the Corona-19 virus, with the or COVID-19 virus, with the Corona. None of your products do that. So you have to have the FDA disclaimer that says, hey, by the way, dude, nobody's checked out our products. We haven't sent our products in to be checked out. We haven't done any of that. Now, if some of you say, wait a minute, Troy, I have an ingredient in my product and it's been approved by the FDA, it's been approved by the EPA, it's been approved by the SEC, the FTA, it's been approved by everybody, including the Marine Corps. Unless you actually have that certification, unless you have those documents public on your website, I don't want to hear it. Don't try to circumvent. Don't look for a loophole. And I'm talking to company owners right now for a minute. Because you will be held responsible, and I'm almost sure there may even be a hotter place in hell for company owners that put the lives of their field force in jeopardy. Because every one of these letters are about something that a rep put up online, which means that you as the individual rep who put this up, as well as your company, will be held responsible. When I look at cases going all the way back to Sea Silver, which is dating my age a little bit here, and all the way current to VEMA, reps in the field paid hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. One of my best buddies, Rob DeBoer, was with a company. Phenomenal, did great with that company. When the company was shut down, when the lawsuits were all over, ended up owing over $1 million for claims, for violations, all that good stuff, because regulators won and the company lost. This is important, folks. This isn't just about, hey, I can change my name, I'll go to another company next week, it doesn't matter. This isn't about you pointing fingers at somebody else, because here's the other thing that I'd almost guarantee you. Somewhere your company or you have crossed the line. Last time I checked, Jesus Christ was the only one that walked on water, didn't sin, and he was pure. I know some of you think you are like that. Doesn't work that way. When you look at doTERRA, Prove It, Total Life Changes, Trinot, Modere, Arbonne, ID Life, It Works, Rodan and Fields, and Zervita, every one of them do their best to keep stuff in line. But they all got hit. They all have that in common. Here's what else they have in common. Number 2, this is big. You're with them. I'm with them as an advisor. So when we look at this, they all have the same thing in common. We are human. And it's up to us to hold, number 1, each other accountable. But more than that, here's what's most important. We have to become educated. Right now, regulators, everything they shoot at, it's a moving target. I sit with CEOs all the time. I sit with some of the greatest investors in this industry all the time. And they're always asking, Troy, what's the target? We don't know what the target is. The guidelines keep moving. But here's what we do know. In rule number 5 under the FTC Act, we do know that we need to put disclaimers on everything. We know that we need to educate people. And we have to do this because if we will continue to move forward this way, if we will continue to monitor our field, if we will continue to put the investment, and I believe this is the big one, if we will put the investment where it needs to be in our education, not just in compliance, because like I said, every one of the companies that ended up with a letter yesterday have some of the greatest active compliance teams in this business. They educate, they suspend, they terminate, they give multiple chances to folks. This is folks in the field who get excited. They're in the field and they say, look, I think I can do this and it'll be okay. I don't have time. This is the big one. I don't have time to send this into the company to get it approved. And they throw it out there. And they don't have any links to the disclaimers. They haven't checked through compliance. And you are the ones that can get hurt the worst. Companies will get smacked, guys. There's no doubt about that. But when I look through the list again, doTERRA, Prove It, Total Life Changes, Trinot, Modere, Arbonne, ID Life, It Works, Rodan and Fields, and Zervita, every one of them have a compliance program. Every one of them has a database. When the FTC comes and knocks on the legal door and the compliance door and they say, look, we got to see what you've been doing. I almost can guarantee you that the actual people that probably put something up on the internet had already been talked to, or their uplines have been talked to. Somebody's been talked to because these guys actually are focused on their business. And the FTC is going to say, okay, well, you need to do better. And they're going to probably fine them. That's kind of the way this works. But you just jeopardized your company. You just jeopardized your team, and you could be terminated. So number 2, if you're going to put something up on the internet, and I know that you want to jumpstart your business, you still need to go through the compliance. You need to look at your policies and procedures. And listen, this one here just pisses me off. And I don't care if you think you're the number one income earner in your company and you can get away with anything because your company's never going to fire you, to the brand new person coming in. If you're not telling the folks that you're sponsoring, read the policies and procedures first. Make sure you can adhere to these guidelines. Make sure you print them off and have them in front of you before you open your mouth, before you post something on the internet. If you're not doing that, then you're just as responsible as the people that actually put the posts up. I'm in a situation now where it's interesting. A top income earner, mediation with the company, and out of their mouth comes these words: well, I'd never read the policies and procedures. Okay, so would you buy a car that way? Would you get a house that way? I mean, think about this for a minute. You can't, oh, well, Troy, I joined Facebook and didn't look at my policies and procedures. Then you got no gripe whatsoever if they're violating your privacy. Because every one of these companies, I have worked with their top leaders. Some of them are still clients. Some of them I've been an advisor to in the past. These are great companies who literally do it by the book, and yet the FTC found something because of the artificial intelligence that the FTC is using. This is number 3. I had this last night. I had an individual say, well, the FTC only knows about this because Tina reported it, or Behind MLM reported it, or some other snitch reported it. No, they use the same type of artificial intelligence that we use over at Red Flag. Okay? And giant companies like Google and Starbucks and Target, all these companies use artificial intelligence. So it's real easy for the FTC to go out there, get the algorithms they need, and then they just plug in what they're looking for, which is COVID-19 and the coronavirus. And then they start tagging other stuff. And some of you guys that thought they just came after MLM, I get these reports every Friday. They're hitting companies like crazy. I saw one last week where the guy 3 weeks ago had been in Forex and he'd been in coins, and now they're hitting him for millions of dollars because he's trying to sell some freaking little pill that's going to cure you from the COVID-19. There's scammers out there, and sometimes we get wrapped into this. But the FTC is not just after MLM. They're going after anybody that could hurt somebody. Now listen, I'm a firm believer in supplements. I've got essential oils. I've got ketones. I've got proteins. I've got everything you can think of that comes into our house. And I take this stuff because I believe in the products. Sometimes I wear a patch. Listen, everybody watching this, I bet you I've either used your products or I'm using your products because our family believes in the quality of the products in direct sales. But what I'm saying is, we're not going out there and telling everybody, hey man, I've not gotten COVID-19 because I'm using a doTERRA oil. I'm using a Prove It ketone. I'm using Total Life Changes stuff. I'm putting Arbonne's makeup on. I don't do that crap. We just take the products that we need to be taken, and we move forward from there. And you guys have to do the same thing. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to let y'all go. I want to be clear. I love these companies. I have worked with people in these companies. I've worked with the owners. I've worked with a lot of the compliance teams. I've worked with a lot of the legal eagles that they have working for them. Rock solid companies. This is more or less due to reps. No income disclosure. On the income claims, and I'm looking through them, not one went back to the company's website. And listen, guys, I want to go back for a minute. If you haven't read your policies and procedures to know if you can even put up an income claim, then don't do it. And if you think, well, Troy, I'm gonna take an executive action and ask for forgiveness later. When a company gets a letter from the FTC, you don't get a second chance. The odds are doTERRA, Prove It, Total Life Changes, Trinot, Modere, Arbonne, ID Life, It Works, Rodan and Fields, and Zervita. Here's what's probably going to happen. You're going to get suspended. People on this list more than likely are going to be suspended, probably going to be fined, they're going to be talked to, they're going to be educated. But if I was advising the companies, you know what I'd say to them? Man, that sun's getting bright. Here's what I'd say to them. you probably need to be talking to the uplines. So you need to put a VIP team together from inside that's going to be pulling all your leaders together. And you need to be having some heavy-duty Zooms and conference calls right now to educate your upline people. Because, man, that sun's going to kill me. Because if you don't, give me that. What's going to happen is this is going to continue. You've got to make sure everybody understands what you can and can't do within your company. You can't say, well, Pruvit let me do this when I was with them, and now I'm over here with Arbonne selling makeup, and I didn't know I couldn't do that. Doesn't matter. Well, I was with Arbonne, and now I'm over here with Trinot, and it doesn't matter. Read the policies and procedures and know, because most companies are not going to let you make an income claim out there whatsoever. So, number one, you may have just gotten terminated for that matter, but at least suspended. Number two, if you're allowed to make an income claim, it needs to be open and honest and truthful. Number one, don't be showing your back office, don't be showing a check, but you better make sure that it's legit. And then you've got a link that has to go back to the page on the company website that shows the income disclosure. And this is what happens. You all get into a fear of loss. Oh gosh, Troy, I don't want to do that because, man, most people in our company's not making any money. Well, shucks. Most people in any career is probably not making any money. But you know what you can do? And I want you to work with your compliance teams on this. But you can make that fun if you want to and still be within the guidelines. On my disclaimers page on our websites, I know what the guidelines are, so I make it very clear. Hey, I want y'all to know that I'm probably getting some kind of kickback, either from the company, I'm getting free stock, I went to bed with somebody in this article, they bought me dinner, they bought me something, I cover it all in a fun way of doing it. So you can do the same thing. Hey man, I'm telling you can make money, but you probably aren't going to make money like I am because you're not going to work as hard as I am, or your wife or your husband's not going to let you do it, or you'd be more interested in watching a daily briefing from the president or watching reruns of football. And until you get out of that mess and until you're willing to work like I do, you're probably not going to make that kind of money because nobody in our company makes this kind of money. There's all kinds of ways you can do it to make it fun and still be within the regulatory guidelines. And that's the key here. Okay? Nobody likes, hey, 95% of the people in my business suck and they're not going to make any money, so you're not going to make any money. But if you join my team, I'm going to make more money. Nobody wants to do that. What happens is you got to make it fun. You got to make people excited about that. Y'all have great products. And I can remember a few years ago, Miss Donna Johnson, who's maybe one of the longest, if not the longest person at Arbonne. I remember when Arbonne's parent company screwed over, burnt through all the money, and Arbonne had to go into bankruptcy. I saw the heart of that culture, and I stood by her. I stood by that company. They came out of bankruptcy, and they're stronger than ever today. And listen, I've every one of these companies, I'm telling you, I've seen what they're capable of doing. I've seen their cultures. I eat dinner and lunch, and I hang out in association events with their people. You have to become a student of this industry, which means you have to go out there and you've got to get educated. And you've got to get rid of this fear of loss. You've got to get rid of looking at the competition as some other direct sales company, some other product. I've got a client right now, and they're not MLM, so I can talk about them. They're out of Canada. They're in the esports industry. And one of the things we first started looking at when we talked to that company, they said, well, Troy, here's our competitors. And I looked at all their competitors and said, that's not your competitor. Your competitor is Disney Plus. It's Netflix. It's the Peacock, because people are in those watching TV. They're watching reruns. They're watching Lion King, or not Lion King, Tiger King, or whatever the same hell it's called. I said, you've got to be able to get them in front of your website. You've got to get them to engage. You've got to get them working with their kids in your games or whatever it is you guys are doing. You guys need to do that at a company level, at a rep level. Stop trying to compete. Well, I saw so-and-so, let me name a name here. I saw so-and-so over at It Works say that they had CBD that was going to cure COVID. So I'm gonna go talk about that myself. Oh, wait a minute, I saw Zervita's got this Zeal product, and they said it could cure COVID-19, and you can make $1 million with it. So I'm going to go tell them that my ketones will do the same thing. You don't want to take Zeal, you take ketones, because we not only do we cure you of COVID-19, but we're going to make sure that next year you don't get it either. You guys, you can't do that. Don't look at other companies as your competitors. You guys are really are, when you look at it, you're pioneers. Every one of you that are watching this video, especially today, believe in your company. You believe in your products. You've had results on these products, such major results in some cases that you said, yes, I want to go share this with my friends and family. I want to go out on the internet and I want to do something big. And you believe in it. And I want you to continue to believe in it. But what I want you to be able to do is to do it in the right way. Because if you don't, the question you have to ask yourself is, can our company sustain a long-term lawsuit with regulators? Can I sustain my lifestyle, the way I feel, the health that I feel, the $2-3 extra $100 a month you're making? If that goes away, can I still sustain myself? I'm gonna close with this. I want to look at the income claims again just for a minute. Most of these companies were hit with what I call indirect healthcare claims. When you read through them, they weren't blatant. They weren't saying we can cure something. They talked about immune support. They talked about health, but they added COVID-19, and they did not add the FDA disclaimer. On the income, it's pretty much the same thing. You tied COVID-19 to it. You use words like guaranteed, no risk, $500 in 30 days. This is all stuff that's blatant lies, is what it is. And I know you may disagree. Troy, our income statement, our compensation plan says we can earn $500. That's true. But the risk that's involved, and I want you guys to know this is an indirect risk, but this is how regulators think. The indirect risk is 22 million people have filed for unemployment. It doesn't matter that we've given out stimulus checks to over 33 million people to offset that. Regulators say 22 million, almost maybe 25 million this week, have filed for unemployment. They don't know how they're going to pay their bills. They're stressed out. They're anxiety prone. We see the suicide hotline rate going up. We see domestic abuse. We see more purchases of alcohol. And what happens is the regulators say, and on top of that, somebody, because this is just what happens, somebody's going to take the last $3,000 on their credit card and give it to somebody because they said no risk, guaranteed to make $500 in 30 days. I believe this is a prime time for a lot of people to build their teams in direct sales. I really, really do. I think the world right now is looking for a side hustle. They're looking for something in the gig economy. I think right now is going to be a prime time where people on Main Street Americans, even brick and mortar companies, are going to say we need to make sure we have a never without income. We got to make sure we've got something going, we got something rolling. I truly do believe that, but it's got to be done right. And Doug Fireball and I this week, I'm going to close with this. We put up a video. There's no strings attached. There's nothing to it. We're not collecting names. We're not doing anything. You can go neverwithoutincome.com and see a video training we did literally on this, how exactly to approach people in this business well within the guidelines, because we want people to understand your business is as important to me as it is to you, because I'm the one that's out here trying to make sure every company stays in business. The legal teams are going to protect the brands. They're going to do their best to protect you. But we got to bind together. United, we've got to come together and say, look, we want to go do something. There's some great associations in this industry, Social Networking Association, the Association of Network Marketing Professionals. There's places you can get educated. There's educational platforms that your upline, your companies, everybody can work with this. But we have to do this together, because if we don't, I got a feeling that if it's not doTERRA, Prove It, Total Life Changes, Trinot, Modere, Arbonne, ID Life, It Works, Rodan and Fields, or Zavita, that there'll be another list of companies And as soon as the government's back to work, here's what's going to happen. They're not going to send the letters. They're going to show up at somebody's front door, just like we saw them do with Herbalife. We've seen them do it with Vima. We've seen them do it with some other companies. And none of us want that. Let's bind together. Let's do this as a community. Let's go out there and say, we are going to educate our teams. We're going to start at the company level down. We're going to start at the top leaders down. We're going to start at the bottom up. I don't care where you do it. But we are going into the education process. We're going to make this part. I would challenge some company owners, if you're watching right now. I'd get with my executive team and I'd say, how can we add compliance to the onboarding process? Not something, 3 to 5 videos, real short, about what you can do and what you can't do. Don't just tell people what they can't do. Use these letters as guidelines and show them what they can do within the cultures of your, and the sky's the limit from there. We can protect this community. We can go help millions of people's lives, guys, in their health, in product, in earning some extra money. But we can only do it if we do it together. Stay safe. Stay positive. Go out there and have a great weekend. We'll see y'all at the first of the week.